As a child growing up in Africa, I was always told that education is the key and knowledge is power. Whilst in South Africa, I saw adverts for the One Goal campaign. Launched during the 2010 FIFA World Cup, the campaign is aimed at helping to provide education for all. All the elderly I visited expressed their desire to ensure that their grandchildren had at least a good education, which will allow them to fend for themselves in later years. I must say, I was surprised to hear about the number of children sent home from school due to non-payment of fees.
Saka tozo tsvaga ndakazotsvaga zvangu yematicha ndandakazokwanisa kudi makodolasi ndandakakwanisa kudi kubhadhara iyi matrendi handina kubhadhara handizive kuti akavhura chikoro achaenda.
Ana gogo vazhinji varemerwa nezvinezvi, vana vasara vasina vabereki, saka ana gogo vachiwana pekutangira nezvinezvi kuti vasumudzire vazukuru vavo, vawane kana kuti vavape chikafu zviri kunetsa kwekuchiwana kwacho. Saka tiri kutososa kubva kune vamwe vanhu zvidiki zvatiri kuwana izvozvo zvatiri kukwanisa kuvapo, asi hazvisi kuvakwanira. Nyaya dzema-school fees problem in my uniforms.
We haven't had a donor or anybody to assist us with school fees. No one is that welcoming to our plight because no one has money in Zimbabwe. Everyone seems to be struggling to make ends meet. So at the end of the day, you find no one is really willing to assist, because they also have their families and their extended families to look after.
The problem of fee definitely at the present moment is so bad. Some parents are not able, to sell anything that will bring them money. And especially when you are left with such a huge number of orphans in your family, and one, you are old. Honestly speaking, the sources of where to get the money is highly limited and at times non-existent.
Lumbered with the duties of bringing up grandchildren and having gone past the age of retirement, most elderly find it difficult to provide the basics for their grandchildren. A lot of the elderly people find themselves with electricity and water being constantly cut off because of non-payments of bills and rates.
handizvo zvekutaura kwani ndiko kuti iye zvinhu handisisina chinhu okuti ndingagoni kwasimudza wese kuti adi ayaruke panguva ino, asi kudhara kuendekana nemakumbo angu ndaigwanisa kuti kuzvishandira handiti ndichidi ndichiyarusa mhuri yangu. Iye zvino kusimuka kwacho panapa kuti ndinohodha ndozouya ndichitengesa makumbo acho hadi haakundirwadza.
The death of a parent has a tremendous impact on communities, but it leaves a child traumatized and emotionally distressed. This will have an adverse effect on a child's education and overall social life. At a time when a child is supposed to be focusing on education, developing a career, and making friends, most children are busy caring for their loved ones and helping with everyday household chores. Some are vulnerable to abuse and are forced to resort to various forms of labor in order to survive.
We try and encourage them not to be promiscuous, not to get into, beer halls just to get a dollar, which is one of the main things that is really happening, and that these orphans and vulnerable children are really pushed to most of the time because there is nothing to eat in the house. The 13 or 15-year-old girl is pushed to the extent that she goes and falls in love with an old man. That old man is probably leaving his wife at home who's HIV positive and dying, and wants the 16-year-old who's much younger and good looking.
Some of these children, they are sexually abused because, they moved in the night. And some of these are too young to make a decision on themselves. As a result, you find out the girl child is very vulnerable. When you look at the boy, some of these boys are now almost street kids. They move around during the night. You know what happened to a child who is not morally guided by the parent. Whatever they do things which are not proper. You see, there's a lot of indiscipline among these children. And at times when they are told to go to school, definitely some do not even appear at the school. They rather, run around in the streets. That is a negative impact, especially when you look at the young generation who we are anticipating maybe the fathers tomorrow.
Hope is Vital told me that they are committed to being in a strong position to help in removing HIV and the stigma attached to it in Zimbabwean society. They are focused on promoting the management of HIV/AIDS to lessen the burden of HIV/AIDS and poverty on child and grandparents-headed households, and effectively enable society to respond and cope to the epidemic and its negative effects.
I'm just grateful for the fact that at least now HIV is being taught in schools. There are people who are going around, there are clubs. Everywhere HIV is being well educated. Everyone is trying to be well educated about HIV. Hence, it will help and assist even the children that we have as orphans. At least it's not scary to speak to the child concerning HIV/AIDS.
The state is run under National Aid Councils and peer education, where children make decisions as to what we want to do under the programs of Choose Life. During these programs, you are very much entertained because this is the time when you hear what the child feels like and things like. And by so doing, we feel such programs are very, very combative in terms of what the children may do without any guidance whatsoever. And we have some workshops that are held. We have road shows which are also being conducted. What are they for? They are meant to rehabilitate the behavior of some of the negative inclined children.
Hope is Vital believes in compassion, integrity, transparency, teamwork, communication, and interaction.